Hi guys, it's Miss Malloy. We're going to start reading Freak the Mighty. It's by Rodman Philbrick, and it is my absolute favorite novel to start the school year with. So, Chapter 1, The Unvanquished Truth. I never had a brain until Freak came along and let me borrow his for a while. And that's the truth, the whole truth. The unvanquished truth is how Freak would say it. And for a long time, it was him who did the talking. Except I had a way of saying things with my fists and my feet, even before we became Freak the Mighty, slaying dragons and fools and walking high above the world. Called me Kicker for a time. This was Daycare, the year Graham and Grimm took me over. And I had a thing about booting anyone who dared to touch me, because they were always trying to throw a hug on me, like it was the medicine I needed. Graham and Grimm, bless their pointed little heads, they're my mother's people, her parents. And they figured, whoa, better put this little critter with the other little critters his own age. Maybe it will improve his temper. Yeah, right. Instead, what happened? I invented games like kickboxing and kick knees and kick faces and kick teachers and kick the other little daycare critters because I knew what a rotten lie that hug stuff was. Oh, I knew. That's when I got my first look at Freak, the year of the phony hugs. He didn't look so different back then. We were all of us pretty small, right? But he wasn't in the playroom with us every day. Just now and then he'd show up, looking sort of fierce is how I remember him. Except later it was Freak himself who taught me that remembering is a great invention of the mind. And if you try hard enough, you can remember anything, whether it really happened or not. So maybe he wasn't really all that fierce in Daycare, except I'm pretty sure he did hit a kid with his crutch once. Whacked the little brat pretty good. And for some reason, little Kicker never got around to kicking little Freak. Maybe it was those crutches that kept me from lashing out at him. Man, those crutches were cool. I wanted a pair for myself. And when little Freak showed up one day with these shiny braces strapped to his crooked legs, metal tubes right up to his hips, why, those were even more cool than crutches. I'm Robot Man, little Freak would go, making these weird robot noises as he humped himself around the playground. Roar, roar, like he had robot motors inside of his legs going roar, roar, roar. And this look like, don't mess with me, man. Maybe I got a laser cannon hidden inside these leg braces. Smoke a hole right through you. No question. Freak was hooked on robots even back then. This little guy, 2 feet tall, and he already knew what he wanted. Then, for a long time, I never saw Freak anymore. One day, he just never came back to Daycare. And the next thing I remember, I'm like in the 3rd grade or something, and I catch a glimpse of this yellow-haired kid scowling at me from one of those cripple vans. Man, they were death ray eyes. And I think, hey, that's him, Robot Boy. And it was like, whoa, because I had forgotten all about him. Daycare was a blank place in my head. And nobody had called me the Kicker for a long time. Mad Max, they were calling me. Or Max Factor. Or this one butthead in LD class called me MaxiPad. Until I persuaded him otherwise. Graham and Grimm always called me Maxwell, though, which is supposed to be my real name. And sometimes I hated that the worst of all. Maxwell, ugh. Grimm out in the kitchen one night, after supper, whispering to Graham, had she noticed how much Maxwell was getting to look like him? Which is the way he always talked about my father, who has married his dear departed daughter and produced Eek Eek Maxwell. Grimm never says my father's name, just him, like his name is too scary to say. It's more than just the way Maxwell resembles him, Grimm says that night in the kitchen. The boy is like him. We better watch out. You never know what he might do while we're sleeping, like his father did. And Graham right away shushes him and says, don't ever say that, because little pictures have big ears, which makes me run to the mirror to see if my ears made me look like him. What a butthead, huh? Well, I was a butthead. Because, like I said, I never had a brain until Freak moved down the street. The summer before 8th grade, right? That's the summer I grew so fast that Grimm said we'd best let the boy go barefoot. He's exploding out of his shoes. That barefoot summer when I fell down a lot, and the weirdo robot boy with his white yellow hair and his weird, fierce eyes moved into the duplex. Down the block with his beautiful brown-haired mom, the fair Guinevere. Only a falling down goon would think that was her real name, right? Like I said, are you paying attention here? Because you don't even know yet how we got to be Freak the Mighty, which it was pretty cool, even if I do say so myself. So 5th graders, we are going to really take a closer look at Chapter 1, sections of Chapter 1 in our reading for the first week of school. One of the things I want you to notice is that Max is our main character. He is telling you the story from his point of view. He has a friend that he calls the little robot man. His name is also referred to in the story as Freak. Freak is definitely disabled in some manner. We're going to learn more about exactly what is going on with his illness, where his body has not developed at the capacity that most kids his age are. I also want you to pay attention to the fact this is the summer before 8th grade. So Max is around 12, 13 years old at the start of the story, as well as Freak is 12 or 13 years old. And Max has a really complicated relationship with his family. He is taken care of by Grimm and Graham, which is your understanding of Grandma and Grandpa. He calls them Grimm and Graham. And one section in the story, we can infer that Max's mom has passed away. We don't know how, but he says that Grandpa or Grimm, who married his dear departed daughter and produced Eek Eek Maxwell. So when somebody is referred to as dearly departed, it means that they have passed away. Max's mom is not alive anymore. And we don't know what happened to Max's dad. All we know is that Grimm and Graham don't like him. So as we dive deep into Chapter 1, just keep in mind all of the things that Max talks about, and we'll see you for Chapter 2.